Hello, we're now talking to Tammy Lane of Poly. Thanks for taking the time to participate in our series, Out of Adversity Comes the Hybrid Opportunity. We're exploring DECT technology's unique ability to deliver solutions for teamwork and collaboration, and how products using DECT have played their part in responding to the pandemic. Then we're looking forward to the post-COVID future. Perhaps you can start by telling us a little about who you are and what you do at Poly.
Sure, Vince. Hi. So again, I'm Tammy Lane. I head up product marketing here at Poly. So really what we do is everything product, and product marketing comes our way. So we really focus on creating preference for all of our Poly products in the market. And we also really focus on our sales and our channel to make sure that they are fully equipped and able to easily sell and talk about our products. We do a lot of the positioning, the messaging, and like I said, really creating preference for Poly products.
Okay. So what would you say are the biggest challenges corporations are facing in today's highly distributed world?
Well, I think the pandemic has really changed how people are employees' expectations about work. So no matter where one is working, they've become really accustomed to having more flexible schedules and working differently. So video, of course, is a big thing now for most people who are working remotely. So to have those, in-person meetings, even though you're not totally in person. But, one of the big things that's a challenge is making sure that everybody who's in the meeting feels like they're in the meeting. So meeting equality is something that corporations are really facing as a challenge. And again, making sure that everybody feels empowered and they have the right tools to be able to have those, really solid meetings and feel like they're truly engaged and in the meeting.
Okay. Well, has the rise of this hybrid work influenced the way Poly is approaching its collaboration product design?
Well, really, we haven't changed much because we've always created and manufactured products that enable remote working. In fact, we've always been a very, very flexible company. So it really hasn't changed much. I mean, people are obviously gravitating more towards, they've had to gravitate more towards personal products, being, working from home. But, they have to sound professional no matter what when they're on the line. And again, we've always manufactured products that suit that need. So we've been in business for over 60 years and really have always focused on making sure that people are heard clearly, are seen clearly. So it really hasn't changed much to, what we have done. We've always had products that address the needs for good communication. So products that help block out distracting noise, amazing audio just to make sure that people are heard very clearly, and the video side too. So again, it really hasn't changed much of what we have done.
Perhaps it's changed mostly for the workers. What challenges have they been facing when they've been working away from the office?
Yeah, well, I think remote employees they just feel like there's less connection. And I think that's both physically as well as emotionally. So, obviously, no longer are those water cooler discussions happening. They will be happening as people are going back to the office, but that just having that physical connection, and then working from home 100% is challenging for a lot of people, especially with the different distractions that there are in the home, which are you may have background noise, but it's different background noise than you had when you're in the office, right? So lots of people have kids or dogs or the gardener outside or what have you. So it's different challenges in that way. And again, people want to, appear and sound as professional as they can, but it's just, there's so many different challenges that have come into the workplace. And, the ultimate goal is, like I said already, people want to, feel like they're in the meeting, feel like they're sounding professional. And I think that's the biggest thing that we've heard from customers is just, making sure that they have the right equipment for their employees, and I should say employees having the right equipment to really truly feel like they are in the meeting and sound as professional as possible.
Well, talking specifically about the equipment, what parts of its in-office equipment are most important to these people working at home? What do they need to be replicated? And what about setting up this home equipment? Does it pose much of an issue?
Well, they need to have top tier audio. They need to have very clear video. They need to have a good monitor. So, really making sure that they have the right equipment for home, and then transitioning back to the office too. So, employees need to have equipment for if they are hybrid working, so going back and forth, as well as, the equipment when they're back in the office. So the remote element, it's an interesting one for people. And like I already said, people, especially who are going to be hybrid working, but, there's all kinds of headsets that Poly, we create headsets, we manufacture headsets, a variety of headsets for user needs. And of course, the Bluetooth side of it is something that people are very used to with phones. However, one of the things that I've always found extremely interesting, especially over the last couple of years, is that for DECT headsets, so our Savvy UC line, for example, is when people actually use a DECT headset at home, they forget about the benefits of a DECT headset. So, people who do use one for the first time, they go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I can walk all the way to my mailbox and I'm still in my call. That's fantastic. So you hear that a lot. And I do think it's important, I've already mentioned video, but I'm standing, right? Because if I sit all day in one place, it gets hard to, it gets hard on the body. It gets hard just to stay focused. So, being able to roam when you are in meetings, and, not every meeting has to always be on video. So it's just fantastic to be able to, walk further with your DECT headset. And then also going back to the office. So, when people are going back to the office where there are desk phones, then, obviously being able to connect to a desk phone again with our Savvy Office products, and the same thing. So, you always hear people talking about how far they can go. Obviously the audio, there's less interruptions on the audio because DECT has its own frequency. So I think that, that's an important piece of it too. So again, just making sure that employees have, the right products, and DECT is key to that. Also having the right video products. So we have our P series, that's perfect for remote working, and also for hoteling and what have you, going back to the office. And so also from Poly with that, they're all supported by Lens, which is our Lens desktop app for people to be able to go in and change their settings to really make it personal for them, as well as our Lens for IT management. So IT can manage all the devices no matter where anyone is working, and gain insights from those too. So it's key to have, really good equipment in the office, but also to be able to replicate that at home for people who are either going to stay remote or be doing hybrid working.
Well, hopefully things are starting to normalize a little bit. So what's the biggest thing organizations should keep in mind as they continue to plan for the future of work?
I think businesses really need to make sure that they're just embracing the change, because it's never going back to the way it was. So again, embracing the change and making sure that employees have the right tools for them to feel like they are in the meeting. So I mentioned meeting equality earlier. So you may have a group of people that's back in the office, so maybe they're in a conference room, but in that same meeting, you may have, 1, 2, 3, 5, who knows, remote participants. So again, making sure that everyone feels like they are, equally in that meeting and able to participate. So really empowering every employee to, again, be able to communicate their best, be as productive as possible, and really feel like they're in each and every conversation.
Well, thanks for that fascinating insight into Poly's business, Tammy, and what's been happening out there in the world of unified communications. Thanks very much for your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you.